All right. Let's see if this works. As I was starting to get into a little bit, you know, before Rumble match, I thought was pretty awesome, and I thought the whole show was pretty freaking awesome. But I do have a disagreement with the Brainless one here. I actually enjoyed the Pitch Black match. Maybe I'm one of the few, but I thought it was a cool concept, and it doesn't need to be the greatest technical masterpiece out there. I thought it was great. I enjoyed the heck out of it. Let's see if this works. Come on, saying it's adding. Well,
Holy shit! I think
maybe.
it worked.
Yeah,
Oh my god! It finally worked.
yeah,
Not bad.
yeah.
Yeah. What's up, cousin Jay?
How you doing, cousin Bobby?
I mean, honestly, that I was just so enamored with the Royal Rumble, and then heading into tonight with just dealing with the wrestling fans on social media. I'm not saying all wrestling fans on social media, but there's just been I've seen a lot of toxic shit in the last day or so, and I'm just like, ugh. I had to get off Twitter at some point. It was just that bad. But
Were you about to get banned again?
did you know I got in trouble on Facebook? I got put in Facebook jail because of what I posted about Nia Jax.
I was gonna say, what was it? Your Nia Jax post?
It was because the only reason I knew it, I posted it on Monday, and then I did the memes on Monday, Monday evening like I always do, and then I wake up Tuesday, my account was locked, and I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, something you posted was inappropriate, and I'm like, oh god, of course. So they took down two of the pictures I had because it was showing signs of suicidal thoughts. I opened up the app. I think when they finally took me out of Facebook jail, they asked me, like, do you need help? Here's some hotlines for you. And I'm like, it was I'm not condoning at all. Never. I've known too many people who have done such a thing. How do you take a picture of Nia Jax with a bunch of cartoonish and faux things? And one of them was a cartoon they took down.
We're dealing with very sensitive people out there.
Yes, I know.
Apparently.
But I want to know, why did you like the Pitch Black match?
I thought it was an interesting concept. I loved the whole blacklight thing with it. I loved that the tights glowed in the dark. I loved the face paint. I love all the little touches that they did with that. Right. Was it a technical masterpiece? Absolutely not. I was not looking for a technical masterpiece. I had absolutely zero expectation going into it except for it being strange. It was much better than anything that he did with Randy Orton during WrestleMania.
Jay.
And I enjoyed it.
Jay, my favorite part about that was Brainless' wife came out from her meeting. She had a break. She had like a 10, 15-minute break. And she was like, oh, what match is on? I was like, oh, it's a good thing because she just came out and the Royal Rumble had just ended. So, of course, that was the Pitch Black match was out. And she's like, oh, good, this is the match I wanted to see. And her and I watched it. And my first thing I asked her, what the fuck did I just see? What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
They're going to fall into the same thing they did with The Fiend. They're going to do it again with The Fiend.
So you were asking before, what are they going to do next with him? I mean, the rumors out there is it's going to be he and Uncle Howdy at WrestleMania, which, quite honestly, is the only way they could go. There isn't really anybody else at the moment like set up to go forward with him at the moment.
The only thing that they have connected to him other than Uncle Howdy is freaking Alexa Bliss.
Right, and that's not going to be a match unless they did a mixed tag match, which they're not really set up for that either.
And the one mixed tag team match we thought
We're not getting.
Do at WrestleMania. We're not getting.
We
rightfully
might get an Elimination Chamber.
Rightfully so, though. I'm sorry. As impressive, and I didn't even get to that part yet. As impressive as Gunther was, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan were just as equally impressive to me.
And you have to add in there, like, you saw the shot of what Rhea looked like on Twitter after the Rumble, all of her face makeup's off, so you could see the batter and bruising and what have you. I heard somewhere that she also, like, dislocated her knee at some point during the match.
Oh, that makes the ending even better.
Right. I mean, you want to talk about somebody who's a badass. Like, dislocate your knee and you still sit there and finish the job and, like, do it well.
I have now, in the last 12 months, seen my two favorite eliminations to win either a Battle Royal or a Royal Rumble. Rhea Ripley's now number one. That was awesome. How she eliminated Liv Morgan. That whole final thing with them and Asuka was I loved it. I did. I loved the Women's Royal Rumble this year too. Both Royal Rumbles made me happy to watch. I was so happy by them. But
the ending of the main event.
Yeah.
I mean, it was with a storyline, as long as it's been going, you think to yourself, how can they get the payoff with this? And you feel satisfied with the payoff. And we haven't even gotten to the full payoff. But I didn't feel gypped in any way. I thought that was awesome. So well done.
This just changes everything. I was so convinced that Sami Zayn was going to win the title. I don't think it's that much of a guarantee. I don't even think it's going to be him. If Roman defends the titles if he defends both titles on each night of WrestleMania, it's not a shoo-in that Sami Zayn is going to be the guy. The fact that there's reports coming out that WWE doesn't see him as the guy, as the face of the company. You have the face of the company. His name is Cody Rhodes. Homelander is on Monday Night Raw. Put the WWE Championship on him. You can have Sami Zayn be the Universal Champion. You put the title on Kofi Kingston. I'm not by any means disrespecting Kofi Kingston. I love Kofi Kingston. He's one of my personal favorites.
I mean, you talked for a long time about how upset you were that he lost in like 6 seconds to Brock.
And you know me, I love squash matches. That was the only squash match I can think of off the top of my head, other than maybe Earthquake beating Adam Bomb many, many moons ago at WrestleMania, where I had a problem
cousin,
with
man.
My cousin and shit. But I just I don't know.
But the thing that I really loved about what they did with Roman and Sami is, Jay, who was the dude who was the most fervent against Sami Zayn, was Sami's defender and seemingly joined Sami in walking out on the Bloodline. And I loved the symbolism that they did, where Sami did exactly what Seth Rollins did when the Shield busted up, and here we have Sami Zayn doing exactly what Seth did, except for this is turning Sami face as opposed to Seth Rollins turning heel.
I'm going to tell you right now, the one person who has really, really won me over the most is Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso has been quietly doing such a fantastic job in this storyline. The fact that Jay looked at Sami after Sami hit Roman and was like, "What are you going to do? That's family, bro." And he just kind of stood there. He didn't know what to do. Jimmy super kicked him. What you supposed to do? I was like, there you go, Jimmy. Way to step up. Jay, I'm telling you, the Usos are really starting to climb up my all-time tag teams list. I really, really love the Usos now. This run with them has been spectacular. We got main event Jey Uso out of this. We got them as the unified tag team champions that have held it for well over a year now. So, I mean, you know how I love me some Solo Sikoa. Love that dude. He's going to be a star for them for a long time, too. He's got a bright future. And I just, everything they have done with this story, can you name me a better storyline than this that WWE has done ever?
Katie Vick.
It's funny. I almost put that as a joke, and they're like, "Have you seen a better?" I almost put Katie Vick, but I didn't want to get the tomatoes thrown at me and tarred and feathered out of the building.
Chris Brown, I could somewhat sympathize with the internet wrestling community wanting Sami Zayn to be the guy that takes the title off. He's been working his tail off, scratching and clawing his way up to the top of the mountain.
The underdog from the underground, Sami Zayn.
But I mean, I understand why they're at this moment going with Cody. I mean, we still have 2 months until WrestleMania, so things can change. I don't expect them to greatly. But I thought it was great the way they did it, quite honestly. I'm not going to bitch about Cody. Cody went away for 6 years to build his own name. It wasn't like he was sitting on the sidelines pulling a CM Punk.
Right.
He was working his ass off. He started a whole damn company.
The most legitimate threat to WWE in over 20 or almost 20 years, AEW.
So it's not like Cody has been sitting idle. He built himself up in a different company, just not the WWE. He deserves what he's getting right now. And I know Tim thinks Cody has a very high opinion of himself, and he certainly does. And Tim's like mentioning that he kind of has the Sasha Banks vibe.
I wouldn't go that far.
I have no problem with him having a high opinion of himself. If you don't, you won't get to where you need to go specifically to get that spot.
You know who else had a high opinion of themselves? Hulk Hogan. You know who else has a high opinion of themselves? Ric Flair. You know who else has a high opinion of themselves? Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart. They all do. Except for AJ Styles for some weird reason.
And Daniel Bryan.
And Daniel Bryan, that's it. They're the only two I can think of off the top of my head that I can see. They're just Daniel Bryan goes out there to wrestle because he loves to wrestle. It's not like he doesn't have a high opinion because he knows who he is. He's fucking Daniel Bryan. He's the fucking GOAT. Same thing with AJ Styles. Hell, Kurt Angle had a high opinion of himself. But he was the only one that was entitled to have that high opinion of himself because he won the Olympic gold medal with a broken fucking neck.
Broken freaking neck.
But I think at the end of the day, it was a great Royal Rumble. I believe Chris Brown was the one that said it was a top 5 Royal Rumble for him. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the men's Royal Rumble a lot.
It'll be tough for anything to top 92 for me. I think 98 was another high spot for me. You know, all the craziness between Stone Cold and Vince McMahon going on.
I was always partial to 92 and 97. Those were the two that always stood out for me. You can't take away what Ric Flair did in 92. I'm sorry. That was incredible.
That was not fair to Flair.
And honestly, Bobby Heenan was the unsung hero of that Royal Rumble because I can't believe it. They got this against Flair. He's coming on number 3. This is all BS. And he just went on and on. I told you he could do it. Bobby Heenan was just gold in that whole Royal Rumble.
When Gorilla Monsoon said he's been in there for 42 minutes, oh, that's good enough. Just put the title on him. So good. So good.
But I thought the Rumbles were great. Both men and women's Rumbles were great.
I loved Ghostface Asuka.
Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. And we're going to have Karen now in Chelsea Green. My favorite thing is Matt Cardona goes, when the girl asked how long you last in bed, what I tell them, and it was a picture of Gunther, and what really happens is a picture of Chelsea Green. She was in and out there in 5 seconds.
So, yeah.
Honestly, one thing I thought was interesting was they didn't have a lot of like the legends come into either of them. In fact, there was only 3.
No, I mean, we
agents
had
type of thing.
Booker T.
Oh my God, I popped for that. I might have been one of the top 10 happiest people on planet Earth when Booker T came out on Saturday. I jumped off the couch. I was so happy to see Booker T. I can't be jumping off anything, and I jumped off the couch.
Chris Brown, I 100% agree, but I want to see, I know it'd be heel on heel, I want to see Chelsea Green versus Bayley.
Oh,
in a Karen on a pole match, or who gets the rights to be the Karen of WWE. And they should make a Karen, there should be a Karen championship.
Wait. I got you one better. I hate to steal a play from the notoriously terrible playbook of one Vince Russo, but maybe put Adam Pearce on a forklift, and we can have Chelsea Green versus Bayley in the manager on a pole match or in a forklift match.
Oh.
By the way, I love Adam Pearce as the official. I really do. He has done an excellent job. I know people are shitting on him. He's honestly my favorite of all of the authority figures since Gorilla Monsoon was president. He's
go.
He's
wait. Are you saying that you think
on.
Gorilla Monsoon was better than Vincent Kennedy McMahon?
Yes. As the authority figure, yes. That was Gorilla. How could you hate Gorilla Monsoon? It's Gorilla Monsoon.
I didn't hate Gorilla Monsoon. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, as much as I dislike him as a human being, was like the greatest authority figure. It was me, Austin. It was me the whole time. I can't wait till the Khans do that at some point in WWE and say it'll be Nick Khan and Tony Khan and Shad Khan. It was me, McMahon. It was me the whole time. Yeah.
Oh, that's
all right.
That's
All right. Afi says she would be down for the Karen match.
That's fantastic.
All right. I'm just going to digress for a moment here. I was in 7-Eleven today as I was coming home from work, and I saw a dude get one of the hot dogs off the rollers, and it just made me think of this, and like I had tears in my eyes laughing so hard. Like if people were actually watching me at 7-Eleven,
they would have thought you were
they would have been like, what is wrong with this dude?
Yep.
And
that's not where I thought you were going to go. I thought you were going to be like, hey, man, I remember when Michael Vick showed up at my 7-Eleven, and they got a bunch of big bites, and they trashed the parking lot, and I had to clean it up after and shit.
Now, mind you, when I was there, it was about 6 o'clock instead of 3 a.m., but like that face of Bray Wyatt, me high as fuck at 3 a.m. staring at the hot dogs on the roller at 7-Eleven. I was crying, laughing, just...
That was me many, many moons ago when I was still living in New Britain, Connecticut, and I was at the gas station down the street. They used to sell the fried chicken, and I'd be there at 1:30 in the morning, more toasted than a pastry, and I would stand there. Yeah, let me get 12 wings, two breasts, and some of the potatoes. Sir, why are your eyes red? Don't ask me questions. That's too many. Oh, fuck.
Booker T, I bet, was high as hell again. He went immediately. He went from the pre-show to being in the show.
And I'm glad honestly, that was the right call. I love it. And it's not just because of the fact that every time Booker T is on the TV, I am glued to it because I love Booker T, but it was in Texas. Let him have his moment. He's been talking about getting into the ring at least one more time for WWE. He did his part. He hit a couple of, the big legs and everything. He did the spin-a-rooney, and then Gunther tossed him over the top rope. It was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Which led to Booker T coming out and said, I would rather get buried by somebody like Gunther than to, last long or get buried by somebody else. Which prompted the Ocho, Mr. Jericho himself, to come out there and say, well, I would never put over Walter. That sounds stupid. What? Okay. You have Gunther, Walter, whatever the hell you want to call him. Okay. He looks.
Gotta go.
He went from, and I know, I'm pretty sure I sent you the picture of the evolution of Gunther. I'm gonna post it on the page. I was going to the other day, but then I ended up in Facebook jail, so I didn't get a chance to. And I just remembered it now. But the evolution of Gunther from where he was when he was a kid to where he is now, he looks like $1 million. He's a guy that could probably take out 90-95% of the people on the roster. He legitimately looks like he could take out Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns in a fight, and it would be believable. He's not some fucking dancing douchebag with a fucking bunch of dancers dancing his way to the ring.
The Funkasaurus?
Who did Chris Jericho put over at WrestleMania 29 that to this day, 10 years later, I'm still pissed about? Go. Impact Wrestling's own Dirty Dango. So, I don't know. I had a problem with that too. But, I mean, it's just, I get that Chris Jericho works for the competitor and all this stuff and everything, but he's really, his stock is really starting to plummet. Not enough for me to kick him off my Rushmore quite yet. There's some compelling arguments now. I think the only one that's safe is really Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else about the Royal Rumble, or do you want to move on to something else?
One spot I enjoyed how they got it, and this could lead into another discussion. I enjoyed the fact that they had Dominic come out right after Ray was supposed to show up, and he had Ray's mask on and tore it up. I thought that was a very good thing, as much as Dominic sucks in the ring. At this moment, He's dude is getting legit heat. Like, this is not go away heat. This is like, we want to see you get your ass kicked heat.
I'm on board. His character arc right now, since he joined the Spooky Pals, I've enjoyed it. I can't believe I'm saying it. But
and I think he could eventually get to a place where he actually is a competent in-ring performer. He just needs to get away from trying to copy his dad.
Which one?
That's all.
His real dad or his alive dad?
Speaking of his real dad's wife said that it is, I believe the term was disrespectful, that he keeps on kind of doing like the Eddie Guerrero Latino heat, and doing like the Three Amigos. She says it's plain disrespectful. And I said, excuse me?
It's funny because it actually came out earlier. She refuted that. I guess WrestleMania had posted a thing that they said that they read from some other freaking website that she said that. She goes, I don't know who this WrestleMania is. I've never spoken to them before. But I'm going to tell you right now, everything that Dominic and Rhea and everybody and Ray are doing in WWE is great, and they have my blessing. I have enjoyed the work that Dominic has been doing. It's part of the reason why I was kind of pissed about the last couple days. Like, this shit is bad. Oh my God. But I thought that was interesting too, because when I first saw it, I was like, ooh, that's kind of interesting. And then she came out and I think it was probably not like a few hours ago. She refuted. She's like, no, that didn't actually happen. And then people were calling out WrestleMania, and he's like, well, in my defense, as soon as you post misinformation, you backpedal like a cornerback in the NFL trying to guard Randy Moss.
Right.
And it's just not a good look for them.
Because, like, when I first saw that, I definitely, like, this doesn't, as much as I was like, this doesn't smell right, but, like, why would somebody post something if it wasn't really true? And I was like, well, apparently I need to be a little bit more vigilant about, like, what the F? But because the thing was, I mean, Eddie did do the storyline with Dominic, the custody of Dominic on the line in that match against Rey Mysterio all those years ago. You would think that Eddie would love the fact that this was still going on, and Vicky would buy into that. She's been, in the business for all this time. I mean, I'm not saying right now that Dominic is getting Vicky Guerrero heat.
Oh God, no. No.
Vicky was nuclear by the time she said, "Excuse me," the third time.
Yep. I would love to see her come back.
If she came back and was part of the Spooky Pals in any way.
It doesn't even have to be with the Spooky Pals. If she came back just to manage Dominic, I would be 1,000% on board, because that's the only way you're going to get more heat on the kid. To
be his stepmother.
Yes. I think he is really, I don't hate Dominic as much as I used to. His character arc, his character work, the fact that he gets heat, he needs to work on his promo still. That promo on Monday was
sure.
But
yeah, talking about Cody getting got.
And just
only R-Truth could say that. You could got.
He has his moments on the microphone, but then he has his moments where I'm like, please take the microphone away from him. But the fact that Cody threw him out of the Royal Rumble to get that extra pop, I'm pretty sure he threw us in Theory out, the two biggest freaking douchebags in the ring for all the fans. It was perfect. I thought that was – I enjoyed that, because I was like, wow, Dominic is coming off as a douchebag, but not in the way that he typically comes off as a douchebag. He's like legitimate douchebaggery. So I agree. I thought that was great. That was a great touch.
Another incredible touch. I don't think you got into this. Was the return of the GOAT, Pat McAfee.
Oh God.
Which even Michael Cole and Corey Graves had zero idea about. They were told in their ear by the producers, oh, yes, he's going to be with you for the rest of the night. Pat McAfee, legit, FaceTime Michael Cole and was in a completely different part of the country.
Yep.
Didn't tell him a damn thing. Then
Michael
his
Cole's
music plays. And their reaction was fucking priceless.
Michael Cole's reaction was wonderful. Corey Graves' reaction was wonderful. And I'm going to tell you this. After watching Graves and McAfee together on Saturday, they're good. They
are good.
They mesh very well together.
One question I do have is what becomes of our friend Wade Barrett? Do we get the return of Bad News Barrett as an active competitor, or do we get a 3-person booth on Monday or on Friday?
I think it's going to be Monday, because I'm telling you right now, Jay, Kevin Patrick's god-awful. He's Mike Adamly bad. That says a lot. He's that bad. I can't. I tried watching Monday night. I watched Monday Night Raw as much as I could this past Monday. It was the first time I watched Raw since he took over. He's horrible. I can't. I just want to bang my head against the wall every time he opens his mouth. If they put McAfee over there with Corey Graves, that's a great call. I mean, if they put Wade Barrett over there with Graves and Patrick, that's fine. Because I enjoy Wade Barrett too. But, if you want to do the whole McAfee and Michael Cole. But who knows? Maybe if he's on Monday Night Raw, it's an easier way to keep him around. Maybe, when he goes back for College Game Day next year, if they bring him back next year, I'm sure they will. Maybe if he works on Mondays instead of Fridays, he could probably do both.
Yeah.
And do you think we get McAfee wrestling at WrestleMania again this year?
100%.
Is he fighting Corey Graves?
I would not mind seeing that.
Me either.
But I mean, the current makeup of the WWE commentator crew is that it's supposed to be Michael Cole and Corey Graves as the premium live event announcers. They could do something different, clearly. They could bring, whether it's JBL or Booker T, they have, a roster of a few other people that they could bring in for that match or for a few matches and have it be a fun little thing.
Plus, with WrestleMania, isn't that the night where they try to bring in, like, whoever for matches? Like, they could have Jerry Lawler fill in for that match. They have Lawler and Booker T, Lawler and JBL.
They do have a few people that they could go to make that happen. Quite honestly, I wouldn't mind if they got Mauro Ranallo back for, a couple nights.
It'll be
Mamma Mia!
It'll be interesting because the fact that Nick Khan came out and said that within the next 3 months the company's gonna be sold, and the fact that there's all these companies, I think it was NBC and Disney, both said no. Although the source that said that, I think it was NBC or whatever it was, that said no, was not a very reliable source.
So I think the things that make that a bit unreliable is WWE just had a call with investors and announced that this was like their most profitable quarter. They just had their highest grossing Royal Rumble ever. They had their most watched Royal Rumble ever. They sold more merch than they've ever sold at the Royal Rumble. Ever. It is much as, like, there was that report about Fox possibly losing, like $100+ million a year by having WWE on Friday nights. I don't know how much I believe that. Again, I go with the fact that the USA Network has been having WWE television for a long, long time, and you haven't been hearing the same reports about USA Network losing their hide over having WWE television. I know it's a difference between cable and broadcast,
right?
But I really don't believe that. Al Snow came out this week, and he
what
said
does everybody want?
that, yeah. But Al Snow said that he believed that, like, Vince wouldn't have been able to swoop back in as he did if he didn't believe or that there wasn't an imminent buyer for the company. So
it scares me, though. That's my biggest thing, is it scares me because of who I think it could be.
Well, I mean, if it's from somewhere halfway across the world, our podcast is going to greatly change.
Oh, big time. Wait, I was actually going to pitch this to you. I think this is the perfect time. I've been saying for almost 7 years that I would love that this podcast become the Dan Le Batard show of wrestling podcasts, where we have a wrestling podcast and we don't even talk about wrestling. So instead of like talking about, Saudi Mania, where, Mansoor is the Undertaker once again, we could is a hot dog a sandwich? Let's ask Ryback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jay, it scares the shit out of me because I don't think I could. I can't. Because I know for the fact that if it's the case that they're going to sell it to Saudi Arabia, that means Sami Zayn's gone. That means MVP's gone. And you can kiss the entire women's division goodbye. Except for,
you could kiss me, but goodbye too.
Yeah. And not just that, the entire women's division minus Charlotte Flair, obviously, because, Ric Flair will go over there and talk to the Saudi prince and say, you know what? My daughter, Charlotte, woo! She's the one. You got to keep one woman around. It might as well be my daughter. Woo! I just hope that doesn't end up being the case. That's just my whole thing.
I agree. And yeah.
One more.
So
thing.
on a separate, yeah.
I was gonna say one more thing about the Royal Rumble. It's not really about the Royal Rumble, but it is connected to the Royal Rumble. So Sunday was the funeral of the late Jay Briscoe. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, right after the Royal Rumble, hopped on a plane and made sure they were there. I know that I sit here and I shit all over Kevin Owens for the last 6 years. Oh, God, 7 years almost now. And about how much of I respect the fact that him and Sami Zayn did that. As good friends as they were and how important those guys were to them. I'm glad that they were able to make it to the funeral on Sunday. I just wanted to mention that. And it just really goes to show you what kind of a person Jay Briscoe really was.
Who he really was and who, Owens and Sami Zayn are as people. Sami Zayn did an interview where, he really talked about his disappointment of like, I really wanted to be in the ring with him at least one more time. And, I think you expect those people you cross paths with, that you have a chemistry with, that at some point, one more time. And then the ticket gets punched, and you don't have that opportunity anymore.
Yep.
And that's a bit of a bummer.
It is.
And I guess this is about as good of a segue as we could do, but one of my favorite heels growing up, the Genius.
Lanny.
Lanny Poffo passed away earlier this week, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan was the one to break the news as far as the wrestling community goes. And, I remember him as Leaping Lanny. He actually had an undefeated streak going for a little while, and I remember his first loss coming against Big John Studd. He got his ass kicked.
Shocker.
But, he evolved from that. He ended up having a championship match against Hulk Hogan on Saturday night's main event. But, he had his poems. He managed a bunch of superstars along the way. But the way he was able to absolutely demolish the audience with his poems and get heat on himself and the people that he was representing. I mean, he understood the business. He wasn't clearly on the level of his brother.
Oh, yeah.
But he was really good. I think he was underutilized as far as his in-ring work goes. And he could have been more than he was, but you know what? He had a fine career, and I'm sad that he passed away, and certainly prayers to his family.
And I just to kind of add to your sentiment, when I first got into wrestling, he was the genius, and I really remember like him and his poems and how he used to destroy the fans and everything. Even as a kid, I was like, oh God, I hate this guy. But to not take away from the fact that he is every single wrestler that has been out, all the outcrying for him was how wonderful of a human being he was. He was very helpful. Even people, just like normal people, are like, I met him at such and such convention, and he was the nicest human being you could have possibly met. And that really speaks volumes because, like we've said, we talked about people who have high opinions of themselves. So the fact that you have somebody like Lanny Poffo that was going out there and was very nice to people and helpful to the younger generation of wrestlers and everything like that, that really does speak volumes of what kind of a human being he is. And honestly, it's inevitable because it's death, taxes, and I'm going to have a FISM on the podcast, or the three most guarantees in life.
Wait.
But it's always a shame when somebody good like him goes when he does, because the world is not a better place without him in it, is the best way I could put it.
Yeah.
So I was very upset to see that. I was very sad to see the genius Lanny Poffo pass away.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't young, but he wasn't like super old.
No.
Like my parents are older than he is.
He's less than a year older than my dad, so I understand.
Right.
So
yeah, you just sit there and you're like, very fleeting thing, and
I think we can have a little bit more of an upbeat something else. Dark Side of the Ring. Dark Side of the Ring Season 4 has been announced. And the three wrestlers that have been announced for Season 4 are Abdullah the Butcher, Bam Bigelow, and the fat
Mike
chick,
Awesome.
The fat chick Thriller, was that his name? The fat chick Thriller, Mike Awesome.
Something like that.
I'm curious if they're going to have Taz. I'd almost bet any amount of money Taz is going to talk in the Mike Awesome one, because he's going to have to talk about how WWE loaned him to ECW to take the title off of Mike Awesome so he wouldn't take the title to WCW and do what Medusa did and all that stuff. So I'm sure he's going to be in it. But you know me, this is one of my favorite shows now. I love Dark Side of the Ring. I love the Tales from the Territory. I love documentaries. I love wrestling. I can't wait for Season 4 to come out.
Yeah. With what they've done with Dark Side of the Ring, I mean, really, like, for me, that's like my wheelhouse of what I like to watch is compelling stories. I don't enjoy the super dark content, but like hearing true stories about things that happened.
Right.
And realizing just how absolutely insane professional wrestling is. Yeah.
And it's crazy. Some of those stories, like, I still can't believe that Nick Gage is the one who came out smelling like roses over anybody else from the Dark Side of the Ring shit. They painted an ugly picture of Vince McMahon. They painted an ugly picture of Ric Flair. I don't know how the fuck he's kind of avoided all this backlash from this shit. But it's just amazing how Nick Gage just came out smelling like roses in this, because he's a deathmatch freaking maniac.
So Tommy, F. Marks Hall of Famer Tommy, they did not give a timeline of when this was going to happen, but the fact that they announced it, I'm going to say, they've done interviews with people. I'm going to say it's going to be in this calendar year, but it might not be in the next. I don't think it'll be in the next month or two. It'll probably be a few months down the line.
For the record, for whatever reason, since I joined into this thing, I cannot even read comments. So I tried swiping over and doing all. I can't read anything. I can just read my notes.
Very sad.
So what am I Are we talking about Dark Side of the Ring? Like when
Yeah,
it
we're
released?
talking about Dark Side of the Ring.
Okay. Yeah, I think, I would say probably May or June is my guess. If I had to take a guess of when it's going to come out, because usually it's like at least 3 or 4 months before they release it. And hell, they can release it next week. I'd be happy. They can release it tonight, and I'd be happy. Well, maybe not tonight. I'm curious to see what the next step with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn.
Yeah, I mean, and SmackDown starts in about 16 minutes, so.
Oh, don't worry, Jay. We got plenty of time. Because even if they start SmackDown with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, it's going to take, they're going to have a 5-minute video package showing the Royal Rumble. And then they're going to show the crowd. Michael Cole's going to introduce everybody. And then Roman Reigns' music's going to hit. And it's going to take them 25 fucking hours to get to the goddamn ring.
It's not dinner anymore.
That's another thing that's really starting to bother me. Why does it take Roman Reigns 27 hours to get in the ring?
It took the Undertaker 27 hours to get into the ring.
What is the Undertaker?
It took Iron Sheik 21 years to get to the ring at WrestleMania 17.
Jay, let's be serious for 2 seconds. The Iron Sheik got to the ring at WrestleMania 17 faster than Roman Reigns ever gets to the ring now. And I hate to say it because of the whole Cornette thing, but he was the one who mentioned it. Because I thought, I was like, it seems like these entrances are getting too far. And then he's like, hey, this Roman entrance. I'm like, you know what? I'm glad somebody else mentioned it. It takes them like 12 minutes to get in the ring. From the second that thing, the boom, that thing goes off, and they show the giant visual of Roman and the Usos. By the time he just kind of meanders his way out, and he's just all slick and shit.
He's all Roman and wet-haired up.
I've taken shits that have taken less time than Roman gets to the ring. I don't know. I think I'm just tired of Roman taking forever to get in the ring. So, like I said, even if he kicks off SmackDown, we could probably be done at like 9:30, even though we're not going to be done at 9:30. We could be done at 9:30. He'd still be halfway to the ring.
Yeah.
But speaking of SmackDown, there is one SmackDown superstar we will no longer be seeing on SmackDown as they returned or re-debuted or whatever you want to call them on Monday Night Raw. I'm going to make this quick because I don't want any other time given to this person ever again.
Rick.
But Biggs.
And he squashed.
Squashed the suit-wearing Miz.
Sad.
So, does this mean that... Oh, God, Jay, they're going to do it, aren't they? They're going to do it.
I think it's going to happen.
They're going to do it, aren't they?
It's going to happen.
They're going to do it, right?
I don't know if it's going to happen at Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania, but it's going to be Boogs versus Elias.
Oh, no.
Guitar on a pole match. 100%. It's going to happen.
They're going to make him a tag.
Vince Russo has been brought into the fold. He is going to help sell the company.
A tag team. Boogs and Elias are going to be the new 3-man band.
Except for it's going to be a two-man band.
Yeah, well, they'll find a third. They can just put Jinder Mahal back in it. Or they can bring back Heath Slater. But I'm glad that you mentioned Vince Russo, because I actually have Vince Russo on my list right here. It's not the list of the notes real quick, but it's the list of, my top 10 list that I put together. The top 10 people I am sick and tired of hearing their gosh darn wrestling opinions. These are people and websites. Number 10, I'm going with Y2J. I get the fact that you're an AEW guy now and you just have these feelings. Bruh, you're going to lose to Gunther in 12 seconds if they ask you to lose to Gunther in 12 seconds. You got squashed by Fandango. Number 9, Conrad Thompson. Not because I don't think has anything to do with the fact that Conrad Thompson's, opinions are wrong. Conrad Thompson is on like 1/3 of the wrestling podcasts in the world. I'm surprised he's not sitting here on the futon right now. Number 8, the Bella Twins. They were all whining and crying. I didn't get a chance to be on the 30. And then we find a video of Brie Bella dancing on a table. I'm like, really? What the fuck? You just got to stop. They're the worst Hall of Famers. Coco Beware belongs into the Hall of Fame more than they do. Number 7, superstar Billy Graham. I've been thinking this about Billy Graham since the 90s because all he ever does is whine and cry about WWE and Vince McMahon. Number 8, Sean Sapp Ross, or Sean Ross Sapp, whatever the hell his name is, from Fightful. He is such a crybaby. And I don't like what you guys. Why did you come to my face and say to me? Yeah, go ahead, Sean Ross Sapp. Come on. You're from Kentucky. I'll slap the fucking shit out of you. Number 5, WrestleMania. The people who basically said the thing about Vicky Guerrero, about Dominic. They were the ones that posted the wrong thing and then backpedaled. Yeah, your name is WrestleMania. I shouldn't be following you anyway, but I don't. Number 4, Ringside News. That guy, the head of Ringside News, has been taking so many L's, you would have thought he was King Serpentico, the fucking jobber at AEW.
Barry Horowitz.
Or Barry Horowitz. I mean, come on. That guy's, I mean, the AEW women's division, they've been beating him up so bad. It's sad. He's going to end up in Impact. Number 3, sad. The Disco Inferno. Number 2, Ric Flair. Well, really, the Disco Inferno for number 3 is he might be one of the few people in the wrestling industry who have made less or drew less money than Jeff Jarrett. Number 2, Ric Flair. Every time Ric Flair opens his mouth, he needs to just shut the fuck up. We get it, Rick. You want to fuck your daughter. Good for you. And the number 1 person on this list, I think everybody should know who the number 1 person on this list is. Every time there's a clickbait article about wrestling legend, wrestling personality, wrestling this, wrestling anything, and I click on it, oh, I wonder who this is. And when I see the 2 words Vince and Russo together, I just immediately back out, close down whatever app I was on, and throw my phone across the room.
And drink or have a cyanide tablet, drinks a gallon of bleach, and
my dog has had better thoughts about professional wrestling than Vince Russo ever had. If you ever get
a chance, Luda might be a Hall of Famer.
At that point, she's got to be. And honestly, if you get a chance, make sure you go and watch Cornette. And if you don't want to watch the show, that's fine. All you have to do is search on YouTube Cornette and Russo, and there's got to be at least a couple dozen videos of those. Cornette shoots on Russo. Cornette gives his opinion on Vince Russo's ideas from Shotgun Saturday Night. I mean, I heard some of these things. I was in tears whenever Cornette talks about Russo, and they missed a really good golden opportunity to have those 2 old fucks beat the shit out of each other. Because I'd pay to see that. I would rather see Cornette and Russo wrestle than Kenny and the Bucks.
Twinkle Toes.
Yeah, Twinkle Toes and the Hardley Boys. Ugh. But yeah, I had to get that. I am so, and honestly, the other 8 names really they bother me. But then whatever. Ric Flair and Vince Russo, I swear, everybody's got to stop going up to them. Like, really, we get it, Rick. You have these sexual fantasies about your daughter, and you want to have sex with her and Andrade in a threesome. We get it. Great.
Yeah, you get the feeling from the Peacock documentary about him that I mean, I don't know if Fifi's completely on board with this, but she tolerates the fact that like it's an open marriage, but I don't think it's an open marriage on her account.
You know, the funny thing is, all those people on that list have one thing in common. I blocked them all. I can't take them. Oh, except for Jericho. Jericho's the only one I haven't blocked because he's Chris Jericho.
Speaking of people that I think one of these you blocked.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Gallows and Anderson apparently signed
5-year
deals with WWE. Triple H felt bad with what Vince McMahon did to them, a couple years back. and he signed them to 5-year deals, and they're going to be in WWE until at least 2027, late 2027.
Oh, that's great because I'm glad that they gave Carl Anderson a 5-year contract. It's not like Carl Anderson's almost 50 or anything.
Hey, you know what? If you're going to be 50 and in wrestling, being in a tag team is not the worst thing.
No, and I agree with that, but I will say this. When Carl Anderson first got to WWE, he was already in his 40s, and that was 6-7 years ago.
Wait.
And I'll say this, Luke Gallows, I don't want to give away a number, but Luke Gallows is my age. And,
yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, the number 3 and the first number of my age will no longer be a 3 in less than 3 months.
Sad.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's all right. I'm beating you. I'm beating you.
Hey, real quick, I have to tell you this one. So I went in for a job interview today, and the guy was asking me all the questions for the job, and he was like, "So how old are you?" And I was like, I thought about it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be 40 in April. Yeah.
You should have proudly said, "I'm not 40 yet."
Jay, it's 40, almost exactly 40 years since I turned 40, or I was born. I should say. Wow, I turned 40. Hold on. No, it gets better. It gets better. So when I was doing it, putting together the stuff for the podcast, and I was typing up the thing, and I was all proud of myself. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be so ahead of this." Da, 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 da. And you texted me like, "Are you ready?" I was like, "Yeah." So I was like, "Give me 30 seconds," and I'm typing it up and I'm putting it all in there. I grab my glasses and I grab my hat and I come in here and I place the thing down. It was in a post. I wrote all of it in a post. It wasn't in a live. And I said, I am so glad what happened this week because it would have been incredible that if I gave myself my Brainless 4 seconds before the podcast started.
It would have been great.
Oh, but yeah, it's been one of those days for me. I'm close enough to 40. I'm pretty much 40. What am I, 39, 97 or some shit?
I'm close enough to 40 to be a lot over that.
Yeah. Yes, but I think the loud groan that's going to happen the day I turn 40 is going to be felt throughout the nation. Yeah. But speaking of people who are 40, Samoa Joe once again won back the TNT Championship on Wednesday, probably 12 days after dropping the title to Darby Allin. I don't even remember how much it was. All I know is that they've hot potatoed that championship more than any other title in the company, especially because Jade Cargill also on Wednesday beat Red Velvet and is now 50-0 as TBS champion. Which
at this point, I'd say she is a greater champion than Floyd Mayweather.
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather might be the best boxer, not fighter, boxer I've seen in my lifetime. Mike Tyson's the greatest fighter I've ever seen. Floyd Mayweather might be the best technical boxer I've ever seen. As long as he's not at WrestleMania.
Going against the Big
Show. Oh, God.
Ugh.
I think
hate that match. Ugh.
I think for WrestleMania week, I'm going to come up with a week of I'm going to have all sorts of content all out. I'm going to flood the freaking Facebook page on WrestleMania week. Because I'm going to put together a top 10 shittiest matches in WrestleMania history, and that one's definitely going to be number 1. Go. Number 2, because Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler was number 1.
So with that being said, I mean, we are not that far off from our 300th show.
2 episodes away.
I mean, I'm just wondering if we're going to get another Brainless musical moment, maybe for
It's funny
that.
that you mentioned that because I said that because I was supposed to sing last week, but extenuating circumstances and scheduling and all that stuff. It's fine. I'm glad we
Something
got it in last week.
happened.
I'm glad we got the podcast in last week. So I had to delay the song until I thought episode 300 would be the perfect time for me to sing my musical number.
This is Sparta.
This is Sparta. 300. Maybe we can get Drew McIntyre on them because it's Sparta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing that came out this week officially is AEW will be doing house shows. Yes. They have called the series the AEW House Rules Live Event Series. I don't think they're going to be doing the schedule WWE is right now. They sound like they're going to pick and choose the weekends that they're going to do it and the places they're going to do it. But the first one is coming next month, and it's going to be in Ohio, and Jon Moxley will be headlining that card.
Please, they're going to be starting on Jon Moxley right now. In fact, if we cannot talk about Moxley and Page from Wednesday, I would greatly appreciate that, please.
Are your feelings on Moxley and Page the same as they were for the Pitch Black match?
The Pitch Black match is not my Brainless this week.
Okay.
It's going to get mentioned at the end of the podcast, but it's not going to be my Brainless.
All right.
And honestly, it has nothing to do with Hangman Page either. So, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Spoiler alert, Kota Ibushi being a free agent, Tony Khan said he'd be interested in working with him.
Kota Ibushi, yeah, no, shocked. Oh no, Kota Ibushi wants to go work for the Yucks and Twinkle Toes. Oh no, and I'm shocked by this. Here, let me show you my shocked face. Was it shocking?
I have that on a shirt that has like the faces of Darth Vader.
Sure that's the faces of Darth Vader, not the faces of Daniel Garcia.
Right?
Oh, who the hell is this?
So Ibushi, though, did come out and say he wouldn't mind working in AEW, but he said he wants to start a wrestling school in Japan before he does that.
Okay. I know that his first scheduled match that he has since his free agency in New Japan is he set up for a match with Speedball Mike Bailey. And for people who are outside of like the Impact realm who don't know too much about Mike Bailey, it's fun to watch. I've watched some of his matches on YouTube. He's actually pretty solid in the ring. Him and Kota Ibushi, because Ibushi was supposed to win the Cruiserweight Classic 7 years ago. People don't realize that. He was penciled. It was him and Zack Sabre supposed to be in the finals, and neither one of them signed because they knew where they were going to go. But I think that's going to be a fun match. Kota Ibushi and Mike Bailey is going to be a real fun match to watch.
Yeah. I think we'll end up seeing Ibushi in an AEW ring at some point, and I'm going to say it's going to be within this calendar year.
Probably.
I don't know if it'll be Double or Nothing or All Out, but it's going to be one of those. It could be Forbidden Door, but like Forbidden Door is more about having the cross-promotional thing, and if Ibushi's more or less a free agent or a freelancer, there's nothing forbidden about that. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
I think this is a lock. He's going to AEW. There's no way he doesn't end up in AEW with Kenny, Matt, and Nick. Just if I'm not being honest.
Right.
Another thing, the fact that we have eliminated Elimination Chamber coming up as the next pay-per-view. We have some confirmed matches for the card. We have
Yes.
2 Elimination Chamber matches. And not only that, we also have Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns in Montreal, where Sami Zayn's from, for the championship.
Are we going to get another Montreal screw job?
I would be more inclined that we're going to see if Roman Reigns wins, we riot situation. I could see a situation where they start throwing chairs in the ring, like they did with Terry Funk and Mick Foley. Please stop throwing the chairs in the ring. But the other 2 matches. I'm sorry. The other 2 matches are Elimination Chamber matches. One of them is for the United States Championship, as Austin Theory will be defending his title in the Elimination Chamber against, so far, Seth Rollins, who won a qualifying match this week on Raw. Johnny Gargano also won a qualifying match on Raw. And one Bronson Reed, the man that everybody's still crying that he beat Okada, is fighting for the United States Championship inside the Elimination Chamber. Thoughts on that belt being in that match?
The original idea was that we were going to get the Intercontinental title in the Elimination Chamber, and apparently they changed course. I don't know what made them change course, but I think the main idea is, so one of the things that came out this week is we're not going to see John Cena for a little bit of time because he actually has a movie that he is shooting at the current moment, but that didn't mean that he is necessarily going to not have a WrestleMania match.
Oh, he's there. Oh, he's definitely
but he probably is not going to be able to physically show up in person because he's doing this. That's not going to stop him from doing vignettes and other things like that to help hype up whatever match he could possibly have at WrestleMania, which is probably going to be he versus Austin Theory, and they don't want the U.S. Championship on the line. So this is their way to get the title off Theory without making him look weak.
Hey, I got a theory. This guy stinks.
Yeah!
Yeah. I think it's a good way to go. A lot of people are speculating that if the rumors are that they're going to have Seth Rollins take the title off of Austin Theory to eventually have them put the title on Logan Paul at WrestleMania, I guess Logan Paul being United States champion of WWE is not as... I don't even know what's the right words to use to describe it.
It's not the worst
idea they could have had, because at least he's not the champion of one of those. And honestly, the way that he has been, not only in his 3 previous matches where he was, where he performed, but after that performance at the Rumble, when he came out 29, and they realized because he was 29, that meant Cody Rhodes was 30, and no Sami Zayn. Oh man, the fans fucking ate that shit up. And he just, I can't stand the dude. I really can't. I can't. I have no. The man has no moral compass in him. I can't stand him. He's a piece of shit. I will never ever condone or be a fan of his. But my God, is he a professional wrestler or what?
Yeah,
he was perfect.
Made for it.
He's perfect. He's got the right. I as much.
He
as
is no Curtis Axel.
Correct.
To be fair,
but I don't like him, but I respect what he does in that ring. He takes it serious, and I know a lot of people were against him because of the fact that a lot of all the other people that have come in before him. I mean, minus I'm not counting Bad Bunny or Johnny Knoxville, Mr. T. Even Stephen Amell actually was pretty solid in the ring when he had his match with Cody and Wade Barrett and all them. But all the others in the past, they're just kind of like, ugh, why are these people here? Logan Paul gets it. He takes this very serious. He has crafted himself to a way that he's actually a legitimate wrestler. And Superstar. And if at some point down the road they want to revisit and bring him in like full time and they want to put the championship on him, by all means, I'm okay with that. They want to split the belts, possibly give one of those two to him, even if he's not full time. They just want to do the nostalgia, he's the special attraction thing. Okay. Don't have like a Roman Reigns-esque run, but if you want to get exposure with the WWE Championship, you know damn well Logan Paul's going to be doing his interviews on his podcast. He's going to do his YouTube shit. Whatever the hell he is, he's going to have that belt. He's going to be like Tyrus on Fox News with the big, beautiful NWA Championship. And it's the only thing I love seeing about him being on Fox News is that beautiful belt, because then I usually turn it away. But honestly, if eventually they want to put the belt on Logan Paul, I have less of an issue now. After watching him wrestle a few times, I'm at peace with it. Just give me some time. I don't want it. Don't give the dude like in his 5th or 6th match the WWE Championship. We knew he was gonna lose to Roman at Saudi Arabia. That was a hell of a match. I've seen the clips.
Right.
That was a hell of a match. And okay, I don't want to. Nobody throw. I know where I live right now. I know what state I'm in. Logan Paul's buckshot lariat is better than Hangman Page's. Yeah, I said it. I meant it, and I'd say it again. His buckshot lariat's better than Hangman Page's. So somebody was like, Hangman Page should just retire the buckshot lariat because Logan Paul does it better. And I'm like, I can't argue that. Oh, fuck.
All right, I have to ask a very possibly tisming question.
Oh, here we go.
Is Nia back more than for just a night?
Well,
or was that a one-night stand?
Well, I went on Wikipedia and I was looking up because I was curious, like how long certain people were in the Rumble and all that stuff. And I was going through and I was like, oh, Booker T, free agent because he's not on Raw or SmackDown because he's a legend and everything. Same with Michelle McCool, which, by the way, I was very happy to see Michelle McCool in the Royal Rumble real quick.
The way
very
they did that.
Yeah. But Nia Jax is still a free agent according to Wikipedia. And if Wikipedia says it, then that means it's pretty close to being legit.
Yeah.
Does it mean that we eventually see her back in it? Probably. I don't want to. I'm going to be very disappointed. And if they do, just put her on Raw. I don't watch Raw anyway. Hell, put her in the broadcast team with Kevin Patrick. That's the only way it could get any fucking worse. Jay, when she came out at the Rumble, I'm just curious what kind of reaction you had, just because I know you knew that my face was whatever the hell it was when she came out, because
I was smiling because I knew what your reaction was. I mean, it was one of the people that we specifically said last week on the podcast, like, may show up.
Yep.
And she did.
Yeah, she did. Yep.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Do you think she ends up in the Women's Elimination Chamber match to decide who is going to be going against Bianca at WrestleMania?
No. Would it surprise me? No, but because they are having a qualifying match tonight, which I thought was very interesting. Although Rhea Ripley fighting for the SmackDown title because she did challenge Charlotte on Monday.
Woo!
And obviously, I mean, that's great because, she can get her revenge after she lost the NXT Championship in front of 0 fans, or in front of one fan over the head. And I hope that this is your chance to redeem yourself. I know it's Charlotte, but this is your chance to redeem yourself Because obviously we all know who Cody's fighting. Let's see. I can either fight the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, or I could fight the WWE Champion, Roman Reigns. Or I could have this...
Or I could pull a Velveteen Dream, or I could pull an Austin Theory and go for a less high title. Oh, he already announced he's going for Roman Reigns.
And I'll tell you,
he has the wettest hair. Roman Reigns.
He's a 7-time effing Marquee Award winner. That was terrible. I'm sorry. And a lot of people were saying, well, if Cody does win the Royal Rumble, how are they going to kind of make this intertwine with Roman? He did it. You can't fault Cody Rhodes. He knocked it out of the park. See, there's just more than one royal family. And it's not just, myself and, everybody else knows. There's also the bloodline. And I was like, oh, this is going to be good. The son of a plumber.
Yeah.
Versus the son of a Samoan. Of a wild Samoan.
Right.
But I was surprised that she picked Charlotte. I'm glad she did. Even though her and Bianca would have had a phenomenal match at WrestleMania this year. But I don't want to. No, again, I don't want to see Nia Jax in this. You have other people who deserve opportunities. I thought it was weird that they did qualifying matches for the United States Championship match, and then we're like, well, the last 4 women in the Royal Rumble that were the last 4 eliminated are going to be in the Elimination Chamber, which is Liv Morgan, Asuka, Nikki Cross, and
Raquel
Rodriguez. Sorry, thank you. Raquel Rodriguez. And I noticed tonight that Shotzi Blackheart's in the qualifying match, which I'm fine with her being in the qualifying match. And if she gets into the Elimination Chamber, I'm okay with it. As long as they don't bring a chair into the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
I never want to see Shotzi Blackheart swing a chair again. Ever. Can't make that any more clear. But I'm glad that they're doing something outside the box, and I'm glad that they're doing the number 1 contenders in the Elimination Chamber for the women's. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with Gunther at Elimination Chamber now. Is he going to have an Intercontinental title match?
Against Sheamus?
The rumor now is it's going to be a triple threat match between him, Drew McIntyre, and Sheamus for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. And believe me, I'm okay with
against the former Banger Brothers.
The Bang Brothers. But I'm on board with Sheamus winning the title at WrestleMania. Believe me when I tell you. I don't care when he wins it. When he becomes, and he's even mentioned it. Him and Edge went back and forth on Twitter this week. He even mentioned it. He goes, I'm going to be the Ultimate Grand Slam champion. No fucking shit you're going to be, because you're damn Sheamus. It's a shameful day. You're accomplished so much. Oh my God. It's going to be, it's going to be glorious when that happens. It really is.
Glorious.
And I'll tell you right now, when Sheamus wins the Intercontinental Championship, it doesn't matter. Hulk Hogan could somehow find a time machine and go back 35 years younger and start wrestling again and have his match against Stone Cold Steve Austin, both in their primes. And Sheamus winning the Intercontinental title to become the Ultimate Grand Slam champion is still going to be my markout moment of the year. No, there's nothing that they could do that's going to top Sheamus. Sorry, Cody. I might give some love to you. I might give some love to Sami Zayn. But obviously, Sheamus is going to trump all. So.
Yeah. All right. So some other news that came out this week is, apparently both Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock have turned down matches at this year's WrestleMania. They're saying that this doesn't mean that The Rock won't wrestle, let's say, at next year's WrestleMania, which we will be at.
Oh, yeah.
As long as the Saudis do not own WWE, I will be at WrestleMania 40.
In Philadelphia, absolutely. Eating cheesesteaks. I can't wait.
Yeah. and hopefully not on a field where that team has possibly won the football championship. The worst.
The fact that there's Giant fans out there, this is what bothers me about this next generation that is out here. The fact that there's younger Giant fans out here, they're saying, I want to see the Eagles win the Super Bowl. What? I almost got put back in Twitter jail because of Giant fans. I've never in my life said, and you know how much I hate New England. I couldn't even pick a winner for that game. I couldn't. But I can't. Philadelphia.
No. Chris Brown, you don't have to say sorry. We want Kansas City to win that game.
Oh, absolutely. But the fact is, there's Giant fans out there, they're like, I would rather see the Eagles win the Super Bowl than Jackson Mahomes and whatever the hell Pat Mahomes' wife or fiance, whatever it is, make these stupid TikToks. I would rather watch, I'll be honest, I'd rather watch Jackson Mahomes do the TikTok naked than watch Philadelphia win the Super Bowl.
Effin Marks Hall of Famer Tim says, tell Brainless, fuck the Eagles.
Thank you, fuck the Eagles. And my favorite was, I was listening to the Cornette podcast, and he does it with Brian Last. Brian Last is from New York or New Jersey. And my favorite part is they mentioned the Cowboys, and all he said was, fuck the Cowboys. And I'm like, I fucking love Brian Last. He's my new favorite podcaster after Jay and myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing that did happen this week, I have to get your opinion on.
Ooh, I'm ready.
Will Otis be the next member of Maximum Male Models?
God, I hope.
And what are your thoughts?
No. I can't. No. I mean, didn't they already do the Chippendales thing with him and Gable?
I think they enjoy that a bit. I mean, as much as we have gotten less of that Vince McMahon garbage, like, ha, 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 ha. I think there's a little bit of Vince still in there.
I really do think that they would do something like that with Otis. They're going to put him in Maximum Male Models. You're not going to freaking flaunt him out there and go, this is Otis. And Otis is here, and he's wearing our summer collection, and he's standing out there wearing like a freaking tank top and a freaking bathing suit, standing there looking as dead as almost freaking Mansoir or Marseille, who are now on Monday Night Raw.
I mean, I don't know if it'd be as good as the what the heck you call it? The Festival of Friendship.
Oh, God.
With the painting of Jericho and Kevin Owens where like they were touching fingers there. But I think that's what they would kind of try to do specifically with Otis.
I think what him and Gable are doing right now is better than him being a Maximum Male Models. They would try to make him Chris Farley, and that's the problem. Because they've been trying to make him Chris Farley since he got called to the main roster. And if he said that Chris Farley was like his hero, so be it. But I can't. I can't have him in Maximum Male Models. That is a black hole. In fact, LA Knight did an interview earlier this week, and he was asked about it, and he said, you know what? He goes, sometimes you try to get things to work, and you do your best, but at the end of the day, what you have is something that you can't get to work, and you have something else that works better, and that's why I'm LA Knight again. Because even he saw even he saw that Max Dupree and the Maximum Male Models was drizzle shits. Yeah, to the point where he would rather get squashed by Bray Wyatt in a Mountain Dew pitch black match against a guy who looked like a freaking psychopath in a B-rated Hollywood movie, who had some weird-looking guy who's probably his brother jump and completely miss on the elbow drop on the pad. Yeah. LA Knight is I've never seen it. kudos to him. LA Knight going from Max Dupree back to LA Knight is if they turned Terry Taylor from the Red Rooster back into Terry Taylor. That's how bad it was. But I just no, I don't. Great, you know me. I like tag teams, and I love when they have all these tag teams. That's why I give Hit Row a pass and all this stuff, and I give all these tag teams a pass because I love tag team wrestling. But,
speaking of giving teams a pass, what about the Ass Boys this week and the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass giving his boys a title shot? It seemed like the Acclaimed was shocked that this happened.
All I'm going to say is Anthony Bowens is the best in that entire was the best thing in the entire segment on Wednesday. Anthony Bowens, I've liked this dude for a while. He's growing more and more on me. I love the Acclaimed. The Brainless one loves the Acclaimed. I scissor me daddy ass. Absolutely. The Brainless one loves the Acclaimed. Everybody loves the Acclaimed. But Anthony Bowens, Max Caster is kind of like a shtick guy. He's got these great freestyle raps, and I'll give him that. He's not a good promo. Anthony Bowens can talk on the microphone. He's very good at it, and he's very good in the ring. And I'm going to tell you, they've learned a lot from Billy Gunn, and you know that he has made a positive impact on those two guys in their development in AEW because they have gotten 100 times better since he joined the Acclaimed with Daddy Ass.
Yeah.
But could this lead to some kind of chicanery where Billy Gunn maybe, cost the Acclaim the titles? And this was like a long-term stuff. I don't want to give AEW credit where it's not where they don't deserve it. But if this is a situation like that, like it's long-term storytelling, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Now Daddy Ass is turning on the Acclaim. This was the plan. It was the plan all along. Because I'm an ass man. Because I'm an ass man.
Roman should get to the ring in another 25 minutes.
I can hear it from the living room. I have not heard his entrance yet. It's either that, or he's made his way to the ring, and as he's made his way to the ring, they're already on a match with somebody else.
Right.
Oh, fuck.
One thing I was happy to see on AEW this week is we got one Timothy Thatcher. Timothy Thatcher going against Bryan Danielson in a match. You know what?
Bryanson.
Sign me up every time with those two.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed Timothy Thatcher when he was down at NXT. I could watch him and Pete Dunne or Butch or whatever the hell you want to call him beat the shit out of each other every night, and I'd be happy.
Right.
The other day, I saw him on the TV. I called him Daniel Bryanson. I'm like,
yeah,
this is like Dino Man all over again. Dino Man versus Luke Perry.
That was a great match.
And Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson. No, Daniel Bryanson. That was it.
Something like that.
I am the Stugatz Wrestling Podcast, baby. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah?
All right, what else do you want to get into, Brainless One?
Honestly, that's all of my notes. We've covered everything I had written down. I'm curious to see where this is going to continue on going with the Bloodline. Because right now, that is the most compelling television of anybody. Speaking of which, I found this out, like, as I was loading up to do the podcast. WWE didn't allow Sami Zayn to work with the Bloodline until Triple H took over.
Right.
He said they made sure they didn't want anything to have Sami Zayn to do with the Bloodline. This was a whole Triple H thing. And I could see this as like a Cody Rhodes, you're only smoking mirrors. Them maybe putting it out there that Sami Zayn, they don't see him as a main eventer. That's some bullshit. Who the hell booked him better than Triple H did down in NXT? Everybody loves Sami Zayn down in NXT.
So you're saying it's Vince McMahon who's putting that out.
I'm just saying anything could get out. It could just be them just putting smoke and mirrors out there. It could be just Triple H. Yeah, we don't see him as a guy like that. He's not a main eventer. It's either that or they're using it as to kind of sugarcoat the fact that they're selling the company to Saudi Arabia in 3 months.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, if that's the case, wherever Sami Zayn goes, that is going to be the number one promotion that we're going to cover on this podcast. We could be the Sami Zayn podcast or El Generico. Oh my God, that would be the only good thing about them selling it to Saudi Arabia is we get El Generico back. But I am curious to see what happens going forward. What does this mean for the Usos now? I'm so glad you played that too.
One step closer to dashing.
The fact that he mentioned all of that on Monday, and then he mentioned Stardust, and it was like, and then I came back. Oh, really? There was nothing you did in those 6 years since the time you left WWE and the time you came back as Homelander?
Yeah, I mean, same thing happened to AJ Styles. He didn't do anything for like over a decade.
2002 to 2014. Not a damn thing. Still one of my favorite things that they did on that Edge and Christian show. It wasn't better than Samoa Joe selling Samoans. It's still one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
AJ Styles being on there with them and Pete Gas were all the best parts about that show.
And this was after dashing Cody Rhodes.
Wasn't this where he did the paper bag thing?
It was the paper bag gimmick.
It's funny. I was at the first SmackDown I ever went to was at Uncasville, Connecticut, at the casino, and it was the SmackDown either right before Money in the Bank. I think it might have been the SmackDown right before it. And he came out and he was putting paper bags over everybody's head, and like he tried giving one to Booker T, and Booker T's like, I ain't wearing that. But you see Michael Cole calling the show. It's one thing when you see something like that with Michael Cole at the table on television with the mask on. It was something else just being there live and watching this jackass try to call a match with a paper bag over his head.
Yeah.
With no coal mine. Ugh.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm curious to see where they go with this. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Sami Zayn in the Elimination Chamber. What's going to happen with Jey Uso? Are we really going to get Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos for the tag team titles at WrestleMania? Because to me, that sounds underwhelming. After all that they've gone through, just to have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens take the tag team titles off the Usos, as much as I think they would be a great tag team, and it's very believable because they're not really that much of they're not a makeshift tag team. They've been best friends their entire lives. They've been
what they call themselves the best friends.
Yes. So them being a tag team is not really a makeshift tag team because they're Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. But at the end of the day, it is very underwhelming if you have Sami Zayn not take one of those two titles off of Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's all I have notes wise.
Okay. All right. Let's get into our good, bad, and brainless for this week.
All right, Cousin Jay.
There was an awful lot of good. A lot of good this week.
There was a lot of good this week. But what stood out the most for you?
Gunther. That dude was freaking, I'm going to, pardon the expression, he was a beast.
Yeah.
He lasted over an hour and like, looked like a freaking superstar in the Royal Rumble match.
I agree with you, but I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to say both the men and women's Royal Rumble matches. Gunther really was the workhorse. He was the MVP of the men's match. Rhea Ripley, you can't take away what Rhea Ripley did in that match. She lasted since number 1. She won from number 1, and she had probably the most impressive elimination in a Royal Rumble to win a Royal Rumble / Battle Royal match ever. Sorry, Brody King. Even when you put a headlock sleeper hold on Darby Allin and eliminated him from the Battle Royal, which I still, number 2, it wasn't as cool as Rhea Ripley doing what she did. I thought that was awesome, and both Royal Rumble matches earned my good for this week.
Yeah.
What do you got for your bad?
I'm going with the hot potato TNT title. You know, I don't mind changing championships, but like when you're doing it specifically, like, well, we're in the home city of this person. So let's give them the title only to give it back to the other person, you know, a month later. I don't love that idea. Like, as much as I don't dislike the idea of having somebody win in their hometown and getting that mega pop.
Yep.
But don't just
You're
take
lessening the title
back. Yeah.
You're lessening the
Nothing
title.
against Samoa Joe at all. But you have degraded your TNT title.
The TNT Championship looks like shit, and I'll tell you, Darby Allin does too, because he came in to defend the title more than once or twice. Remember when he said, what was it, Nick Wayne? Hey, Nick Wayne, I'm going to defend this title against you, and then 3 weeks later, Joe takes it from him? It's going to be even better when Wardlow, who came back on Wednesday, wins the title back from Joe in like a month and a half. And then Scorpio Sky can win in a month and a half after that, and then Sammy Guevara, and then just be a revolving door of freaking TNT champions. But for me, I'm giving the Pitch Black match my bad for this week.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I love Bray Wyatt. I do. I have all of his entrance songs on my phone. And I'll tell you right now, the best thing about him returning is that I might low-key have I might be a fan of Orange Code, that the people who sing his last 2 entrance songs. Yeah. That Shatter song, I must hear it like 7 times a day. That match was just, I can't. Jay, he's a movie star. He's a Hollywood horror film bad person. He's not a professional wrestler. He doesn't wrestle like his dad, but he cuts promos like his grandfather.
Right.
I'm sorry. And I did think that the tights were cool and the neon lights were cool and the stuff like that. I thought that was a nice element to it. But a squash match and just he no-sold everything. Ugh. It had a lot of Fiend feel to it, so I had to give it my bad. when you're running late to work and the guy in front of you in line is buying a whole roll of lottery tickets. When it's 2 minutes to post and the guy in front of you is betting 10 superfectas 3 weeks down the road. But yeah,
Tim, Dom has the world's greatest mullet since Billy Ray Cyrus. And Stephen Belichick.
So what do you got for Brainless? That's what I want to know.
Nia Jax. I'll just leave it at that.
For the record, I was going to give Nia Jax my Brainless. Hell, I was going to give whoever it was who brought her in on Saturday my Brainless for this week. But something much worse happened this week. During the opening match between Hangman Adam Page and Jon Moxley, spoiler alert, Jon Moxley bleeds.
We have a reel about that.
And it's not even the fact that he bled, because you already know it's going to happen anyway. It's the fact that the camera caught him taking the blade out of his mouth and then cutting himself in the head. I don't really say that I blame Jon Moxley as much as I blame the person who was in the truck that thought it was a good idea to show it. Because the fans who watch this show know, the 9,000 people who watch AEW every week know, and I know that if that happened in WWE, that person would have been fired, unless it was Bucky Beaver. That is just bad. And you should, as somebody who is a producer in television, you should know that is a bad look. That is bad. That is bad presentation.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I really had a problem with that. Oh my God, he's bleeding again. So the fact that it was just bad timing on the cameras and somebody fucked up.
Yeah.
I had to give them my Brainless. Otherwise, it would have been Jax. But
yeah,
if you like what you've seen, whether you are a first-time watcher or a continuous fan, make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube at the letter T, the letter H, the letter E, the letter F, the letter N, MARKS, the F and Marks. If you like and follow and subscribe to us, we will do the same back. It has always been our
mantra. And make sure you set up notifications so that when we are live, you will be notified that we are live so you can talk with us and communicate with us about all of our favorite sport that we love to hate, professional wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah. You can call me Brainless and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt my feelings when you call me Brainless. It can't hurt your feelings if it's true. I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
So I think that's is that everything? I think that's everything.
Yeah, definitely everything. Bray Wyatt's gonna sit here at 3 a.m. at 7-Eleven looking at that.
Wait, I was very disappointed. I didn't even get a call for the Royal Rumble this week, especially because now people like Tommy, F and Mark's Hall of Famer, is probably going to say that Rey Mysterio should now have my shtick. And boy, I'll tell you what, I disagree. I have worked my ass off for the last 8+ years. In fact, 2,931 days to be exact, of being the most influential person on this podcast who is not the Brainless one or Cousin Jay. And you know why? Why is that, Curtis Axel?
Yeah.
It's because today, on February 3rd, 2023, 2,931 days ago again, I am still alive in the 2015 Royal Rumble. For the record, I know I was going to say that I was going to do something stupid if he came out, but I typed out what I was going to put in there, and then I said, if he shows up and I have to do this, I'm going to cry.
Were you going to eat a hot dog off a roller at 7-Eleven from 3 a.m.?
3 o'clock in the morning, not from Newport News, I'm not. Oh, no, not Newport News. You don't want to be at a 7-Eleven.
I love taquitos, man.
Taquitos are the shit. And the Cool Ranch Doritos with the nacho cheese and shit on top of it.
And shit.
But,
yeah.
Anyway, for episode 298 of everyone's favorite wrestling podcast, the F and Marks.
I'm Jay, and he is.
I am, I was, and I always will be the Brainless one. Make sure you mark out.
With your guac out. See you, everybody. Enjoy SmackDown, and we will talk with you next week on episode 299.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Let me talk to you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. See you, Cousin Bobby.
Later, Cousin Jay.